Pope Leo's been Pope for a little over a year, and he's already inspired so many hearts and souls and energized Catholics all around the world. And as of August 2026, these are 5 quotes from Pope Leo XIV that stand out to me so far. They come from 5 different moments, and each one gives us something practical to remember in ordinary life. Let's start with that very first blessing he ever gave us as Pope.
Dio ci vuole bene, Dio vi ama tutti, e il male non prevarrà.
Pope Leo said these words on May 8th, 2025, during his first appearance after being elected Pope. He had just spoken about the peace of the risen Christ and the unconditional love of God. Then he reminded the world that all of us are in God's hands. And I just think this quote is so powerful because it begins with care and love. Before telling people to move forward without fear, he reminded them that God loves them. And that gives Christian hope its foundation. Because we know evil's real, it can cause terrible suffering, but it doesn't, has never, and will never have the final word, because that belongs to God. Let's take a look at number 2.
Let us disarm words, and we will help to disarm the world.
Pope Leo said these words only 4 days later during an audience with journalists and other media representatives. He was talking about the way people communicate, and he asked for communication that listens, avoids aggression, and pays attention to people whose voices are often ignored. And I think this quote might be even more relevant outside of journalism, because think about how quickly a conversation can change because of just one careless sentence. This happens all the time in families, at work, and definitely happens most frequently online. Pope Leo's point is that peace begins much closer to home than we sometimes realize. Every time we choose patience over aggression, listening over reacting, or kindness over humiliation, we help disarm the world around us. Let's take a look at number 3.
Aspire to great things, to holiness, wherever you are. Do not settle for less.
Pope Leo said this during the Jubilee of Youth Mass in Rome on August 3rd, 2025. He was speaking directly to young people, but I think the words apply to all of us. The part that really stands out is wherever you are, because that doesn't just mean geographically. It also means the season of your life, because you don't have to wait until your life is less busy. You don't have to move somewhere else or achieve something impressive, and you definitely don't have to become a completely different person. You can pursue holiness in your home, at your job, in your parish, and the relationships that are already in front of you. And when Pope Leo says, do not settle for less, he's reminding us that holiness is a much greater goal than simply being comfortable or successful. God's calling every one of us to something more. Let's take a look at number 4.
Life shines brightly not because we are rich, beautiful, or powerful. Instead, it shines when we discover within ourselves the truth that we are called by God.
Pope Leo said this on All Saints' Day in 2025 during a Mass connected with Catholic education and the proclamation of St. John Henry Newman as a doctor of the Church. He continued by explaining that life shines when we discover that God has called us, given us a vocation, and entrusted us with a mission. And that's a message that people really need to hear, because we spend so much time measuring ourselves against other people. Who has more money? Who looks better? Who seems more important? But Pope Leo points us towards a completely different measure. Your life has value because God called you and gave you something meaningful to contribute. Someone else may have more influence, more talent, or even a more visible role, but they can't live your vocation for you. There are people you can love, help, encourage, and serve in ways that literally nobody else can. And here's quote number 5. This final quote comes from his written teaching rather than a homily or public address, because it comes from his 2026 encyclical Magnificat Humanitas. He wrote it while discussing artificial intelligence, technology, and the danger of losing sight of human dignity. And that just makes this quote incredibly timely. Because we know that technology can help us work faster, communicate farther, and solve problems that once seemed impossible. But progress still has to serve real human beings. Pope Leo wrote about open hearts, listening, and seeking what brings people together. Remaining profoundly human means remembering that efficiency isn't the highest measure of a good life. People need to be seen, they need to be heard, they need compassion, patience, forgiveness, and most importantly, they need real relationships. No machine can replace the value of a human person or our responsibility to care for each other. When you put all 5 of these quotes together, a clear picture begins to form. Because Pope Leo wants to remind you that God loves you. Don't allow evil to take away your hope. Use your words to create peace. Pursue holiness wherever you are. Discover the vocation God has given you. And hold on to what makes us truly human. Those are 5 messages from Pope Leo XIV that I think are worth remembering. So let me know in the comments which one of these stood out most to you, or let me know if you have a Pope Leo quote that's your favorite. And if this video happened to help you or inspire you at all, please make sure to give this video a like. And if you'd like to hear more authentic Catholic wisdom and discover the meaning behind the faith, make sure to click that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on. May God bless you and your families.